And today's video is gonna be, it's gonna be based on the markets, but we're gonna talk about life in general because I know a lot of people, especially they ask me questions. And before we get into this topic, feel free after you watch the video to leave your comment. And if this video helped you, let me know in the comments. I would definitely like to hear everyone's story. You're gonna have to put a whole paragraph, but just to say that, listen, man, you helped me big time and keep doing what you're doing. But anyways, at the end of the day, a lot of people ask me in the markets, well, especially about market information. They ask me and they say, how did you acquire this knowledge? And it's hard to explain, but it's easy to tell you if that makes sense. And I'm gonna explain to you guys pretty much, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper and more about me and how I got to this position. And like I said, it's hard to explain, but easy to tell you. And I can easily tell you, be consistent, do your due diligence, stay on the charts, all of that. But that's like so cliche. And people want to hear the real in people. Like, what have you gone through in life? And I've been doing this for 11 years. And I can officially say, without, bragging or nothing like that, that I understand what's going on in the markets. Because of me actually doing the due diligence, putting in the time, trying to understand how things work, taking a lot of pieces here, pieces there, trying to put this together, just trying to be a scientist in just not in the markets alone, but just knowledge and information. And my journey, I've mentioned this before on a trading podcast that I did, but I never really got to go a little bit deep how I can go in on my own channel. But I can only tell you this, guys. You have to, and I'm only gonna base this from my perspective, from my life path, but you gotta pretty much go through something, man. There's a lot of desires in your heart, right? There's a lot of things that people want to do, but I feel like, and I can only say this because I went through it, but I feel like while you're trying to learn or go through what your heart desires, whatever you're trying to do in life, you got to treat life like a scale to me. And just like what the Chinese shows in the yin and the yang, yin yang, night day, light dark. So there has to be some sort of balance. And everyone wants the good out of life. That's good. Who doesn't want the good out of life? Everybody wants the best for themselves, right? For you and your family. But if you don't go through nothing, you don't learn nothing. And I can say that because I went through something. While I was trying to learn, you know what I'm saying? The market. I can say at a point in my life, we all go like this. But notice what I'm doing. The up, it's like pacing. Like you're pacing, you're feeling good, you're on a high horse. But when it starts to turn, it falls faster. And that's just like the markets. Prices go up, but they fall faster than they go up. And you got to start to realize that like life is kind of like the markets. And the markets go through things before it actually like corrects itself. So a lot of you new traders out there that's like 18, 19, 20, 21, especially the new traders. I'm not talking the traders that's like 29, 30, 31, 32. New traders, you will try to jump the gun on what life has to offer you, even if it's through the hard path or the hard route. You're going to try to jump the gun because why? A lot of what you see on social media, right? A lot of people living their best life. And social media is kind of imbalanced. And if you dwell in the social media world, I believe your life is going to become imbalanced. There has to be good days and there has to be bad days. And it just so happened you learn best through the bad days. Just how it is. You learn best through the bad days, right? When you're living your best life, you don't think of preparation. You don't think of, let me build 10 steps ahead of me just in case. And there's a lot of new traders, like I said, 18, 19, 20, 21. You want to jump the gun, and you ain't been through nothing. You have to go through something, and I'm gonna explain in a second. You have to go through something, man, and that's how you become what you would say that butterfly, right? Start from a little caterpillar into a butterfly. And a lot of you traders want to jump the gun, jump on the charts, over leverage yourself, make $50,000, $60,000, go buy a car, and then what? You see what I'm saying? You shouldn't think that it takes money to get, how can I say this? Because I don't want to say it wrong. You shouldn't think that it takes money to get to a certain point in your life to internally say, I've made it. Because at the end of the day, all the hard work that you do when you buy the car, we know it devalues as soon as you leave. So you put in hard work for that. And when I was trying to learn, be honest, I'll be honest with you guys, and I'll be honest with myself. There was a point in time where I was doing this. And if you understand like natal charts, right? A lot of you should study that because it teaches you about yourself and other people. Natal chart is your birth chart, but a birth sign is what I'm saying. It teaches you about yourself and other people. But there was a point in my life where I was experiencing high speed momentum based on what the natal chart said. So my life was like, it was moving up. I was making money and I didn't know how I was doing it. There was a point in time I was on YouTube with my kid, with my first son. We were doing sneaker reviews. We were doing other things on YouTube. And believe it or not, that YouTube went up to like 10 million views, 30,000 subscribers. YouTube was literally paying me like $6,000, $7,000 a month besides, and that was that alone. I was doing other things. I was into sneakers, all of that. I was doing a whole bunch of other things, but YouTube alone was paying me $7,000 a month. So when you can get behind a camera, turn it on, and do things and people watch, and a digital system is paying you, that helps bring your life up, right? You start to not think about the preparation. When months go by and I'm seeing $6,000, $7,000 checks from YouTube alone, you think the average mind is not going to think about preparation because you built something that was kind of solid and you didn't realize anything can break down. You built something that was solid, and that's exactly what I did. I built something that I thought was solid, but I didn't understand how it was coming to me. I just knew money was coming, just by me doing YouTube, selling shoes, doing other things on the side, whatever it took, I was seeing a lot of money, but I wasn't preparing myself because remember, life does this. You always got to prepare yourself for that curve, just like in the markets. You buy, sell, right? You got to prepare yourself for that curve. And when you don't do things like that and prepare yourself, like you start making money, you need to start putting money away. How can you meet your future self a little bit richer than you are now? And that's just taking money for future cash flow. So I was hitting that curve. I mean, living my best life. I wasn't worried about nothing. Had the best cars, whatever the case is, Benzes, whatever, all of that. And when that curve happened, I didn't realize there was no preparation. So when the turn finally came down, it was shocking to me because when life takes control, there's nothing you can do about it. When we call divine intervention comes in, oh, you're not stopping that intervention. Divinity stepped in on me. And what happened was I started to lose everything. And what was so crazy about it to me was everything that I did to get and maintain that, I was still doing it. But just how when life starts to show you that there should be a balance, and within the good, you start to prepare because the scale is going to tip one day. And keep in mind, I'm not a closed-hearted person. I like to help everybody. I help any and everybody. If I have and I can help you, I'm gonna help you. So as I was I was on my high horse feeling good, but I was always a person to help people. Like, I don't like to see people on the corner, blah, blah, blah. And you know what I'm saying? Not realizing that my turn was gonna have me and my family end up on the corner. So while I was getting all the money, I still would help people. I still would go to downtown Miami, give them money. I would make them food. You know, I used to make a whole bunch of like rice and pot stickers and put them in little paper plates with a whole bunch of foil paper plates, and I used to drive around. And when I think about it, when you don't prepare and when life finally hits you, you start to remember everything you did and how you could have done it better. And that's where, if you don't use that little bit of energy to build and momentum and get yourself up off the ground, that's where people tend to fall in life. Now, mind you, I was passing out food in a nice Benz, had a home to go to, but then I would see people on the corner. I never looked down on them people because I'm there helping you. And this was around 2:30, 3 in the morning. I'm driving around downtown Miami by the arena, 6th Street, 7th Street, you know, all of that. And things were good. Eventually, when life started, divinity started to come in, because it's like life puts you through a lot of things and then it tests you to see, okay, where was your heart through all of that? Now, I felt good about life, right? And I helped a lot of people. But still, I still had to go through that balance of life. So when it all came crashing down, I couldn't even understand how what I was doing to get all that I maintained, that I couldn't hold on to it. So what do I mean? Lost cars, homes, money, everything. Where I was staying at a time, I was staying at an apartment at a time in Miami on 79th Street. Those from Miami know how it is, Little Haiti. And I was there for a while, but eventually I got kicked out to where the office says, look, we just don't want to renew you. Now, mind you, I was going through a lot before that. I used to have a lot of police come there, like a lot of police come there for me because I used to get into it a lot, you know, with my partner at the time, my significant partner at the time. And there was even one time where I think maybe my actions is what led him to that, but not realizing my actions down the road affected me. Now, what probably affected me was got into an argument with my girl. She called police at the time. Police came. I was in the bathroom. I tried to be slick and not come out, but then I came out. But my nature is very fiery. I can go from 0 to 100 like that. And I'm just being honest with you guys on this video. I came out, I started cussing the police out. Get the F out my crib. Nah, you ain't supposed to be here. All of it. You know, I don't want to curse on YouTube, but get the F out my crib. Or get out my house, whatever. And I'm going off. It's 2 cops. 2 of them at the end of the hallway, and I'm at the end of this hallway. My words were so powerful, it hit one cop. And he just said, you know what? He rushed me. He rushed me in the hallway. And he grabbed me. Now I'm fighting a cop. Now I'm fighting a cop in the middle of my hallway. And it's a tight hallway. So as he grabs me like up here by my neck, and I'm trying to punch him in his head. So he throws me on the door, turns around, he pulls out the taser, and he's like, I'll put 1,000,000 volts in you right now in front of your kid. And when I looked, I see my kid, he's like, and I'm like, That's when I said, you know what? I gave up right there because I didn't want him to see me go through that. So obviously I went to jail, right in my shorts, no clothes. And when I went, I went through hell. That was it. That was that turning point in my life where, like I said, where the market starts to turn. Now, I'm catching an assault charge. Now life has a hold of me. You see how life does it? It's crazy because, as they say, as above, so below. Life took a hold of me through cuffs now. Now I have to listen to myself. Because now I'm in the back of the car going to 3 different stations before I actually get to, I went to downtown. Then after downtown, they send me down to TGK. For those from Miami know where that's at. Send me to TGK. Now I'm settled in there. And it's so funny because everything was just restricted. My life instantly restricted. Now I'm in a cell restricted. And me being my nature, I like to expand. I'm a Sagittarius. I like to expand. So once that happened, that was it. I knew something was up. And from that turning point, I lost everything, house, car, everything. And when I came out, it's so crazy. That wasn't even the end of the story. When I came out, I had to figure out a way because now I was on the streets. I was on the streets with 2 kids. And when I mean, for those new traders, don't be afraid when life takes a hold of you. Don't be afraid to go down that path because you're going to come out stronger than ever. Because it got a hold of me, and me being a little bit stubborn, I'm not trying to really ask for help because I was just on top of the world, right? I try to stay above water. So now I'm in the streets in Little Haiti on different corners, and I'm trying to sell water. Now keep in mind, I went from doing anywhere from 7 to 15,000 a month to being on the corner selling $1 water. And no one likes that. No one wants to go through that. Did I want to at first? No, because, I'd be on the corner, people drive by, they knew me. But at the same time, I had 2 little kids at the same time, so I had to do what I had to do. Now, I'm all up and down Biscayne with a water bottle. Not a water bottle, with a cooler full of water. Walking up and down. Mind you, where I was at. Walking up and down, trying to sell waters every day. And the thing was, I had to do it every day to survive. Because, you would buy a pack of water for like $5, 24 in the pack. You're getting $24, $25. So you needed those tips to make it. And I know this video is long, but trust me, hear me out. Now, I needed extra tips to make it. Extra tips. I was staying in a hotel right on Biscayne in Midtown. And I was paying like $77 a month. I mean, not a month, a day. Now, mind you, I was only making $25 if you add up the profit off the water. So if I didn't get little 20s here and there, I wasn't going to survive because I had to buy food every day and then buy new water every day. Taking the free trolley. But then I started to understand my life was doing this. I was on the turn. And a lot of people don't want to accept that. Long story short, when I started to accept that and put my pride to the side, I started to realize that the information that I was learning, and the information like the Forex and all the markets. Now, I would do this at night when everybody's sleeping. I would still be up, still learning. And it just so happened that I felt like once life said, look, you give it to me, I'll give it to you. And what does that mean? To me, in my opinion, is surrender to when life is calling, because you're going to get it. That's why you see a lot of homeless people out there, because They all went through that calling, and one of two things. They fell into depression, which that's you can easily fall into depression because you have nothing. And two, they didn't realize, they weren't aware of what was going on. So my tip to everyone, know who you are first, because if you don't, you're only playing a game. You're only going to go through this until you die. But once you start to understand who you are, you then take control. You then start to align yourself with the stars and know what the stars is asking of you. So I eventually got up out of that situation, guys. It got to a point where, I couldn't sustain myself selling water, so I had to call family. I had to reset, literally hit the reset button. And once that happened, I came with more clarity of understanding what was going on and who I was. And once I did that, here I am today, 11 years later. I can stand on my feet, no problems. I can help people, no problem. And that's all, I envision for myself. So, I'm definitely going to do a part two. I always like to do a roundup on videos that I do, because, y'all may miss something from the first video that I could say. So I'll do a part two. But at the end of the day, guys, don't be afraid to go through something in life, because that is life calling. Like, it's time. You know what I'm saying? It's time to basically like almost sacrifice yourself, but for a newer, better version of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like the market going through a correction. You have to have correction phases in your life. If not, you don't learn anything and you don't grow. And if you don't grow, how can you help the next man? So don't be afraid. New traders, young people. If it's hard for you, it's because life is calling. And stick through it. You will get through it. It's just only want to see how tough you are. That's it. All right. So until next time, guys. Jay Athens.